Well, let's begin with the latest from the hacktivist group Anonymous. It is Friday after all, which means the group is out with a new chapter in their program, the name of which I can't say on air other than to call it FBI Friday. Now, you may remember 2 weeks ago we told you about the group's waged attacks on websites for the Department of Justice, the FBI, Universal Music Group, and the Motion Picture Association of America. Well, that was in response to the file-sharing site Mega Upload being taken down by federal agents. Now the group is at it again. Just moments ago, the website for the Department of Homeland Security went down. And earlier, they hacked into the website for Puckett and Farage. These are the attorneys that represented Sergeant Frank Wuterich in his recent trial. Now, Wuterich, you may remember, admitted to leading Marines into 2 civilian homes in Haditha, Iraq, back in 2005, which resulted in the deaths of 24 civilians, including women and children. Now, they say they want to bring attention to this case, adding, quote, "Can you believe this scumbag had his charges reduced to involuntary manslaughter and got away with only a pay cut?" Now, it goes on to compare that with what's happening to alleged WikiLeaker Bradley Manning, who now faces life imprisonment for sharing classified documents. Now, another really interesting thing also happened. Turns out it's not just websites. Apparently, Anonymous has also been able to record some pretty high-profile telephone conversations, including one between the FBI and Scotland Yard about the investigation into Anonymous. Now, the FBI has confirmed the call, saying it was illegally obtained, meant for the ears of law enforcement only. But as we know, Anonymous doesn't care who such matters are intended for. We have a little bit of that conversation for you to hear.
We've got our prosecution counsel making an application in chambers, i.e. without the defence knowing, to seek a way to try and factor some time in that won't look suspicious.
Okay. How much time do you think is reasonable that they'll be able to...
I've gone and said 8 weeks. We have got Ryan Cleary's indecent images, which have been found partly by our guys and partly by the USAF team who looked at his hard drive. So what we're going to propose is that they get dealt with first.
So let's talk about this and go now to the founder of Project PM, Barrett Brown. He's got some knowledge of Anonymous and also is our source, our go-to guy to help shed some light on what this might mean. Barrett, let's talk first about this audio recording. We just played a portion of it. You've got an investigator from the UK talking about 2 guys, part of Anonymous UK, that were arrested and about delaying their case. You have them talking about things their defense attorneys even don't know about. What do you see as the result of this type of interception?
Well, it's going to obviously look a little bit bad for the FBI and for the Metropolitan Police in the UK, particularly since the latter mentioned that sort of acknowledged that they had, quote, cocked up, unquote, some things at an early point. Altogether, and I've only heard portions of this, I've been a little bit busy this morning, but they discuss a lot about sort of what goes on in the background in terms of their investigations, how they proceed, what they look at, what their strategies are, and that's going to be very useful for a number of parties on our end of things.
Let's talk about what we just found out about a few minutes ago before we came on air. The Department of Homeland Security website is down. Talk a little bit about this, why you think this might be the latest target for the group Anonymous.
Well, the DHS has been a thorn in a lot of our sides for a while. I happen to know that they started looking into me for some reason about a month ago based on a tip. There obviously have been, one of the targets on our end for a while now. There's nothing recent that I know of that would have impelled them, but I saw in the non-ops IRC a little while ago that a couple of people had been very intent on bringing you down today, and it's just sort of the icing on the cake on this particular Friday.
And it looks like I've just gotten word that that website is sort of back up and down, intermittent, but was down there for a few minutes at least. Let's talk about this other latest hack. The attorneys who represented Marine Sergeant Frank Wuterich. Why do you think they chose this case in particular? Certainly there are a lot of things that people find fault in, especially with his sentence, not even getting any time behind bars. But why do you think Anonymous would focus on this case they see unjust as and not the many others?
This is the big enchilada of today, and there are a number of reasons why not only Anonymous, but basically any American who cares about justice would be interested in this. The person involved who prompted this massacre of 24 people got off extraordinarily lightly. At the same time, Bradley Manning is still facing God knows what after having been psychologically tortured for months, contrary to Americans' ideals. So, just a month ago, I guess the sentence was handed down, and in the meantime, this law firm in particular has a history that I won't go into right now, but they have a history of unethical behavior. And so a couple of the emails that the people responsible, some of these anti-sec people responsible, have already gone through, already sort of point to that. They already exhibit, from what I understand, a couple of the partners of the firm joking about the Marines who were urinating on dead Afghan soldiers. That's just a small slice of the emails, which in this case consist of about 2.5 years of exchanges. So since, as usual, a search engine will soon be put up so that anyone can search any keyword they want and come up with any email that has that keyword, there's going to be a lot of trouble for this firm in the next few weeks.
It is really interesting, too, from what I understand. I mean, the amount of emails, as you say, 2.5 years worth of emails that Anonymous now has their hands on, not only talks about some, things that many people would see as inappropriate that these attorneys have been discussing. It also shows a lot about who's been giving money to who, and certainly when you follow that money, that can lead you in some interesting places. I guess, to me... go ahead.
It's not just going to be this law firm that gets hit on this. There are going to be a lot of other parties that, by the end of this, are going to be tarnished and possibly more. We'll know more about that pretty soon.
Yeah, and again, this is sort of becoming the norm. I mean, we've had you on, Barrett, every other week here. It seems to me that Anonymous does what Anonymous wants, but it stands to reason that as more of these attacks take place, the more resources, the FBI and the government will sort of devote to try to take down Anonymous. What do you think? I mean, what's going to be able to stop them? Or is there anything that could happen that would make Anonymous stop on their own?
Think about it this way. Anonymous, ANISEC, Project PM, all of these are processes at war with the system. And a process evolves very quickly. A system does not. A system is situated. A system is brick and mortar. We can evolve faster, change tactics on a whim. They can't. So they're always sort of a couple steps behind, even if they make some arrests, which they often do. And of course, 2 days ago, we had the PayPal 14 show up at a hearing in San Diego, and they've all pled not guilty. In that situation itself, the FBI and whatnot did not realize that waiting in the wings, we had lots of pro bono lawyers just for that occasion. They were expecting to be able to turn these guys, to scare them. They didn't realize that within 2 days of the original raids in January 2010, we would have some of the top lawyers in the nation there to start advising them. So it's things like that that ensure that no matter what happens, we're not going to be burning out anytime soon.
All right. Certainly something very interesting that we here at RT keep our eyes on all day long. You should see our web department. They all kind of are into this, making sure they don't miss anything. And they were the ones who notified us about the Department of Homeland Security. And who knows, within the next few hours, we might have more news. We do appreciate your insight, founder of Project PM, Barrett Brown.